37 merchant ships, heavy with fuel and food, plow through steel-gray water. Above them, low clouds drag across the sky like torn canvas. The escorting destroyers cut wide arcs, sonar operators leaning into their headphones, straining to hear what the sea refuses to give up. But this time, the ocean is not hiding its secrets. Far away, hundreds of miles inland, those secrets were uncovered hours earlier. At Bletchley Park, a decoded Enigma message had revealed everything. U-boat wolfpack positions, refueling schedules, even the confidence of German commanders who believed the Atlantic was once again theirs. They were wrong. You can almost feel the shift in momentum now. Convoys no longer stumble blindly into traps. They glide around them, or worse, for the U-boats, straight through them, guns ready, escorts aligned, aircraft overhead at first light. The Allies are not just reacting anymore, they are hunting. And it all begins in a narrow room filled with paper, noise, and exhaustion. Inside Hut 8, the atmosphere has changed. The panic of earlier years has been replaced by something quieter, more dangerous: confidence. The Bombe machines now run day and night. Operators rotate in shifts, feeding in cribs, probable phrases like Wetterbericht, weather report, or standard naval headers. The machines clatter, drums spinning relentlessly, chewing through possibilities at a pace no human could match. Alan Turing walks past them, hands clasped behind his back, eyes flicking to the indicator lights. He rarely speaks now. The system works. And because it works, it must be protected at all costs. Every decrypted message follows a strict, almost ritualistic path. First to the analysts, then to intelligence officers, then, carefully sanitized, to operational commanders. Never raw, never obvious. A convoy is rerouted due to air reconnaissance. A U-boat is sunk by chance patrol. The truth remains buried. If the Germans ever suspect Enigma is compromised, they will change everything overnight, and the darkness will return. So decisions are made that will never appear in history books. One convoy is saved, another is not, because saving them all would be too suspicious. On the German side, confusion spreads. U-boat captains report increasing losses, entire patrol groups vanish, fuel tankers are destroyed before rendezvous, radio traffic grows tense, accusatory. Admiral Karl Donitz, commander of the U-boat arm, studies the reports with a tightening jaw. His submarines are better than ever, his crews are experienced, his tactics are sound. And yet they are being ambushed. Something is wrong. But every technical check of Enigma comes back clean, unbreakable. So Donitz concludes the problem must be elsewhere. Bad luck, improved Allied radar, more aircraft. Not a machine in England quietly reading his mail. The result is catastrophic. In May 1943 alone, 41 German U-boats are destroyed. The numbers are unsustainable. Crews begin to sense it, an unspoken dread that the ocean no longer belongs to them. Survivors speak of escorts appearing as if summoned, of depth charges falling with unnatural accuracy. The wolf packs dissolve. The hunters are hunted. At Bletchley Park, the victories are not celebrated, they are counted, and they are weighed. Alan Turing reads a report detailing the destruction of multiple U-boats in a single week, dozens of German sailors dead, young men, conscripts, engineers, fathers. He sets the paper down slowly. He understands something few ever will. Breaking Enigma does not just save lives, it takes them. And the moral burden of that knowledge is heavy. The impact spreads far beyond the Atlantic. With shipping lanes secured, supplies flow freely. American troops arrive in Britain by the hundreds of thousands.
tanks, fuel, aircraft, everything needed for an invasion of Europe. All of it dependent on those quiet huts, on those humming machines, on one engineer's refusal to accept the word impossible. By late 1943, Allied commanders speak openly, though vaguely, of victory in the Atlantic. Churchill calls it the dominant factor throughout the war. Privately, he knows the truth. Without the codebreakers, there is no D-Day, no Normandy, no liberation. And yet, Alan Turing remains unknown to the public. He eats alone, walks alone, thinks constantly. The war is not over, and Enigma, though wounded, is still alive. Because there is one final danger, one that could undo everything. A single mistake, a single slip, a single realization of the enemy that their unbreakable code has already fallen.
June 6, 1944, 2:12 a.m., Southern England. The sky vibrates with engines. Thousands of aircraft stream south toward the French coast, their navigation lights dimmed, their cargo lethal. On the ground below, paratroopers check weapons in silence. Maps are folded, letters are tucked away. The invasion of Europe has begun. And deep in the background, unseen, unacknowledged, the codebreakers of Bletchley Park have already fought their battle. Weeks earlier, Enigma messages poured in with unusual urgency. German units shifting, false alarms triggered, reinforcements held back from Normandy, misdirected by deception, reinforced by silence. Every detail mattered. Every intercepted message sharpened the picture. And still, the rules held. Nothing that could expose the secret. Even now, as Allied forces cross the Channel, German commanders are unsure where the main blow will fall. Some still believe this is a feint, that the real invasion will strike at Pas-de-Calais. That belief is not an accident. It is engineered. Alan Turing does not watch the landings. He is in his office, reading reports as they arrive, the war reduced to lines of text and signal traffic. His face betrays nothing, but his hands tremble slightly as he turns a page. If Enigma holds, if the deception holds, then today will change the world. The days that follow confirm it. German responses are slow, disjointed, confused. Orders contradict each other. Units wait for permission that never comes. Panzer divisions sit idle while beaches are secured. Enigma traffic reveals their uncertainty in real time. The Allies are no longer guessing. They are watching, and they are winning. By 1945, the war in Europe collapses inward. Berlin falls. The Atlantic is secure. Enigma machines are captured by the thousands, hauled into warehouses, photographed, catalogued. Still, nothing is said. Bletchley Park is shut down. The huts are abandoned, the machines dismantled. Workers are sworn to absolute secrecy on pain of imprisonment. Alan Turing returns to obscurity. No medals, no public thanks, no recognition. The war he helped win must pretend he never existed. Years later, long after the guns fall silent, the truth begins to emerge. Historians piece together what really happened in those huts. They calculate the impact. The war shortened by at least 2 years, millions of lives saved. Not by bombs or bullets, but by logic, by persistence, by a man who believed a machine could think differently. Alan Turing does not live to see his legacy restored, but his work endures. In every secure communication, in every computer, in every algorithm that turns chaos into clarity. The Enigma was broken,
And in breaking it, the course of history was rewritten, quietly, decisively, forever.
A British merchant ship cut slowly through the rolling waves, its decks heavy with food, fuel, and ammunition, lifelines bound for a starving island. The sailors on watch grip the rails as the wind knifes through their coats. Somewhere beneath the surface, unseen and silent, a German U-boat stalks its prey. You can almost hear it before you see it. The dull thump of a torpedo launch. Then, impact. Steel screams, water floods, men shout orders that vanish into smoke and spray. Within minutes, the ship begins to list. Flares ignite the sky, but no help comes. By the time the cold Atlantic closes over the wreckage, dozens are dead. And far away, in a quiet office in Berlin, a German naval officer calmly records the success. He taps out a short radio message, coordinates, time, tonnage sunk. The message races through the ether, invisible, unstoppable, encased in a code no human is supposed to crack. 2 days later, September 5th, 1939, Bletchley Park, Buckinghamshire, England. The mansion is beautiful, almost serene. Manicured lawns, autumn leaves drifting gently from the trees. To an untrained eye, it looks like the last place on earth where a war might be fought. But behind its walls, the war has already begun. In a wooden hut that smells of damp paper and cigarette smoke, a group of men and women stare at sheets of nonsense, endless rows of letters, no spaces, no punctuation, just chaos. XHTL, QRMZ, WJQ. German Enigma traffic. Unbreakable, according to everyone who understands it. And sitting slightly apart from the others, hunched over his notes, is a man who does not look like a savior of nations. Alan Turing, 37 years old, thin, awkward, his tie slightly crooked. He rocks gently in his chair as he reads the ciphertext, lips moving silently, mind racing ahead of everyone else in the room. To most people, Enigma is a lock with billions of combinations. To Turing, it is something far more dangerous, a pattern. The German Enigma machine is elegant, terrifyingly so. Each keystroke sends an electrical signal through a maze of rotors, scrambling the letter into something else, then something else again. With every press, the machine changes its internal wiring. Even if you guess one letter correctly, the next one shifts out of reach. 3 rotors, then 4. A plug board that swaps letters at random. Settings changed daily, sometimes hourly. The math is staggering. More possible combinations than atoms in the known universe. The Germans are confident, arrogant. Why wouldn't they be? No army, no mathematician, no machine should be able to reverse it in time to matter. And yet, Turing does not look defeated. He looks irritated. Because while others see infinite possibilities, Turing sees human weakness, patterns of habit, repetition, predictability hiding inside precision. He knows the Germans reuse phrases. He knows weather reports begin the same way. He knows naval officers, pressed by war, will choose convenience over perfection. The code is not random. It is designed by men, and men make mistakes. Outside the hut, the news grows worse by the day. U-boats are tearing through Allied shipping lanes, convoys vanish, insurance rates skyrocket, food rationing tightens, Britain's survival hangs on ships that may never arrive. Winston Churchill reads the daily sinkings with a growing sense of dread. Lose the Atlantic and the war is lost. Bombs can be endured, invasion can be resisted, but starvation, that is slow death. Churchill authorizes unprecedented resources for Bletchley Park. Scientists, linguists, chess champions, crossword solvers, anyone who can think differently.
And at the center of it all, Alan Turing proposes something that sounds insane: a machine. Not to encode messages, but to break them. A device that will think faster than any human, relentlessly, without fatigue. A machine that can tear through Enigma's possibilities at terrifying speed. Some call it brilliant, others call it impossible. One senior officer scoffs openly. You cannot beat a machine with another machine. Turing does not argue. He simply begins to design it. Late at night, the huts glow with dim light. You can almost feel the tension in the air, the ticking of clocks, the scratch of pencils, the low murmur of exhausted voices. Turing walks the corridors, lost in thought, mumbling equations under his breath. The problem is not just building the machine, it's building it before the war is lost. Because every day Enigma remains unread, more ships sink, more families receive telegrams, more sailors disappear into the dark. And worse still, the Germans are upgrading their codes. New rotors, new procedures, new layers of complexity, a moving target. If Turing fails, Britain may never know where the next convoy will be attacked, or when, or by whom. The Atlantic is becoming a graveyard, and somewhere beneath its waves, U-boat captains are listening, confident that their voices are invisible, unheard, unbreakable. Alan Turing stares at his sketches one last time before turning off the lamp. The machine in his mind is still unfinished, untested, hypothetical, but he already understands the stakes. This is no longer about mathematics, it is about time, and time is running out.
Winter settles over Bletchley Park like a heavy cloak. December 1940, 2:40 a.m., Hut 8. Frost clings to the windows. Inside, the air smells of oil, metal, and exhaustion. A handful of men stand around a strange, towering contraption that looks less like a weapon of war and more like a madman's invention. Tall cabinets, rotating drums, miles of wiring. This is the Bombe, and it is not working. Alan Turing rubs his eyes, red from lack of sleep. His hair is unkempt, his fingers stained with ink and grease. He stares at the machine as if willing it to cooperate through sheer force of intellect. The Bombe is not elegant, it is not quiet. It rattles, it clanks, it groans. But if it succeeds, it will do what no human mind can: test thousands of Enigma rotor settings every minute, hunting for contradictions, proof that a particular setting cannot be correct. The logic is subtle, ruthless. Instead of asking, what is the right key, the Bombe asks, which keys are impossible? Eliminate enough impossibilities and only one answer remains. Simple in theory, nightmarish in practice. The first problem is speed. Enigma changes its internal wiring with every keystroke. To chase it, the Bombe must simulate dozens, sometimes hundreds of Enigma machines at once. Relays misfire, drums slip out of alignment, sparks fly where they shouldn't. An engineer swears softly as a fuse blows. Another failure. Outside, a phone rings. A message arrives from the Admiralty. 3 more ships sunk in the Atlantic. No survivors. The silence that follows is unbearable. Turing closes his eyes, not in despair, but calculation. He sees the machine not as it is, but as it should be. He adjusts a diagram, crosses out a line, redraws it. He speaks quickly now, urgency cutting through his usual awkwardness. Add another diagonal board, we're missing a contradiction loop. Some look confused, others nod slowly. They trust him, not because they fully understand, but because nothing else has worked. By early 1941, the Bombe begins to stabilize. It is still temperamental,
still loud, still prone to failure, but now, occasionally, it does something extraordinary. It stops. A bell rings. A possible solution. The room freezes. Every eye snaps to the output. Operators rush forward, copying down rotor settings. Couriers sprint the results to analysts, who test the key against real Enigma traffic. Most attempts fail. But then, one does not. A message resolves into German, clear, coherent, deadly. A U-boat report. Coordinates, course, speed. For the first time, Allied command sees the enemy before the attack. The realization hits like a physical blow. They have been blind, and now they can see. But the victory is fragile. Turing knows it. Everyone at Bletchley Park knows it, because Enigma is not static. In February 1942, the Germans introduce a devastating upgrade, the four-rotor naval Enigma, known as Shark. The effect is immediate. The bomb goes silent. No bells, no solutions, no insight. Convoys are hit again, harder than before. Sinkings spike to terrifying levels. In some weeks, Allied losses reach over 500,000 tons of shipping. Sailors whisper that the ocean itself has turned against them. At Bletchley, morale collapses. All that work, all those nights, gone. One officer slams his fist against a table. "We're finished. They've outpaced us." Alan Turing says nothing. He simply returns to his desk. He understands something others do not yet see. The Germans believe the new Enigma is secure, which means they will grow careless again. And Turing has allies now, not just mathematicians, but sailors, spies, and raiders. From daring naval boarding actions, Allied crews begin seizing Enigma codebooks from damaged U-boats, sometimes while the vessels are still sinking. Men drown so that books can be saved, pages soaked in seawater, hands shaking from cold and fear. Those books arrive at Bletchley under guard, rushed into Hut 8 like sacred relics. They are incomplete, outdated, dangerous to rely on. But, combined with the bomb, they are enough. The machine is redesigned. Faster relays, improved wiring, new logic paths. The noise increases. The room vibrates as if alive. Operators wear ear protection now, shouting over the mechanical roar. And then, late one night, it happens again. The bomb stops. Another bell. This time, the solution holds. Messages pour in, U-boat patrol lines, refueling points, ambush plans. The Atlantic begins to change. Convoys reroute at the last minute. Destroyers lie in wait where no submarine expects them. Depth charges explode with horrifying precision. German captains are stunned. How are the Allies always one step ahead? They suspect spies. They suspect traitors. They never suspect a mathematician in an English country house. Alan Turing stands apart as reports come in of convoys saved, of losses avoided, of attacks thwarted before they begin. He shows no outward triumph, only focus, because he knows the cruelest truth of all. They can never reveal the secret. Ships must still be lost, deliberately, so the Germans do not realize Enigma is broken. Lives are sacrificed to protect the greater deception. Victory bought quietly, silently, in the shadows. And as the Battle of the Atlantic begins to tilt, one question hangs unspoken in the air at Bletchley Park. How long can they keep this secret before the enemy changes the code again?